Oscar Piastri has thrown his weight behind McLaren team principal Andrea Stella's refined approach to driver equality, as the Woking-based squad looks to streamline its much-debated internal racing principles following a turbulent 2025 season. The Australian insists that McLaren's commitment to allowing him and world champion Lando Norris to race on equal terms remains intact, but concedes that last year's execution of that philosophy often created unnecessary tension, both on track and within the public narrative surrounding the team. Speaking at the 2026 Autosport Awards, Stella reaffirmed McLaren's long-standing stance of driver parity, while acknowledging that further discussions with both drivers had highlighted the need for a more efficient and less convoluted framework. "There are many areas where we can find ways to do things better," Stella explained. "Or if we can achieve the same objectives in a simpler and more efficient way, with less workload for everyone involved, that would be a significant improvement for the future." While the Italian stopped short of outlining specific operational changes, his comments were widely interpreted as an admission that McLaren's handling of key moments in 2025 had sometimes overcomplicated matters, turning what was intended to be a transparent let-them-race policy into a source of controversy. Two incidents in particular exposed the fragility of McLaren's internal balance. The first came at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, where a slow pit stop for Norris prompted the team to instruct Piastri to relinquish track position. The request was met with resistance from the Australian, who felt the situation conflicted with the principle of equal racing. The episode lingered, resurfacing emotionally for Piastri during a difficult weekend in Baku later in the season. The second involved a sequence of disciplinary decisions that appeared inconsistent. Norris was initially warned for contact with Piastri in Singapore, only for that warning to be rescinded at the following round. In contrast, Piastri was later deemed more at fault for a sprint race clash in Austin, highlighting a lack of clarity that fueled external criticism of McLaren's governance. From the outside, these moments fed the perception of Papaya rules being both rigid and ambiguous, a paradox that placed drivers and strategists under unnecessary scrutiny. Addressing the media this week, Piastri welcomed Stella's push for simplification, describing it as a pragmatic evolution rather than a philosophical U-turn. "It will look a bit different," Piastri said. "As Andrea mentioned, simplifying the racing principles is a wise decision. Last year, we probably created some problems for ourselves that weren't actually necessary." The 24-year-old was keen to stress that the core idea remains sound. As a general principle and a general way of going racing, it brings a lot of positives. The key is how we refine it so that it stays positive. Piastri also pushed back against what he sees as an exaggerated external narrative. "There's often far more said about it than what actually happens. A lot of people form opinions without knowing the details. Many things look different from the outside than they are in reality." While adjustments are expected for 2026, he made it clear that McLaren's DNA has not changed. "We still want to race as much as possible as a team." Crucially, Piastri dismissed any suggestion that he was treated unfairly during his title fight defeat in 2025, despite the season ending in disappointment. "Yes, I believe I was given a fair opportunity last year, and I expect that to remain exactly the same," he said. "That doesn't mean things couldn't have been done better. I think that was obvious to everyone watching. But there was never any bad intent, nor any moment where I doubted the motives behind decisions." Time away from Formula One proved vital in helping the Australian reset mentally. Returning home to Australia during the off-season allowed him to gain perspective after an emotionally draining campaign. "It was really nice to be back home, spend time with my family, and take a bit of distance from F1 and racing," Piastri reflected. "The support I received, especially with how I handled certain situations, was honestly very uplifting to hear." McLaren's challenge is not unique. Balancing two elite drivers in title contention has undone many teams before, from Mercedes in 2016 to Red Bull's internal tensions across multiple eras. What makes McLaren's situation particularly delicate is the combination of genuine driver equality and championship-level stakes. Stella's comments suggest McLaren now recognises that how equality is enforced matters just as much as the principle itself. Overly complex interventions risk undermining trust, while excessive passivity can leave drivers feeling unsupported. For Piastri, the lesson appears clear. Adversity can be either a burden or a catalyst. With radically different regulations on the horizon, he has chosen the latter. There are a lot of lessons from last year, he concluded. The ending was a bit painful, but you can approach that in two ways. Let it bring you down, or let it give you more confidence and motivation for the future. With such different rules coming, it's been a very good way to channel that motivation over the off-season. As Formula One enters a new regulatory era, McLaren's ability to refine its internal philosophy without losing its competitive edge may prove just as decisive as any aerodynamic upgrade, and Oscar Piastri looks ready to ensure he remains at the heart of that equation.